Hey everyone, welcome to our opportunities class. My name is Chelsea with Scott Leroy Marketing, and it is so great to have you all here today. We are going to be going over our opportunities pipeline today. So, keep in mind that we do have a YouTube channel that is called Scott Leroy Marketing on YouTube. Feel free to go ahead and check that out, and you can type in any topic that you need about Command, and you'll be able to find all of those resources on there. We also do have a chat box as well, so if you have any questions during our class today, feel free to put your questions in the chat, and I'll do my best at the end of class to get those answered for you. And then, as always, you can email us at support@scottleroymarketing.com. And I'm going to go ahead and put that in the chat box as well. So if there's anything that you need to reach out directly to us about, feel free to send that over to that email address, and we'd be happy to assist you further with that. All right, so let's get started with our class today. So, like I said, we're going to be talking about opportunities, and this is going to be within the KW Command platform. So, to get to Command, you're going to log into agent.kw.com. It's going to bring up this login screen that you see here, and you're going to have two boxes in the middle of the screen that's going to allow you to put in your username and your password. Your username is not case sensitive. However, your password is. So if you're having any issues signing in, just make sure to check any capital letters that should be capital or that maybe shouldn't be capital. And if you do need help seeing what these characters are, feel free to click on this eyeball here. It's going to show you what this password is. The other thing is to make sure that there's no spaces either before or after your password, because that can also cause some issues with you logging in. So once you do have that squared away, we'll go ahead and click sign in. And this is going to bring us to our command dashboard. So before we get into our opportunities today, the first thing that we're going to talk about is our integrations page, so that we can make sure that we have our electronic signature platform connected to Command so that our opportunities can run efficiently. So in order to do that, we're going to go up to the top right corner and check out our name here. When we click on that, we're going to go into our settings. This is going to bring up our integrations page. So essentially, this is showing you all of the applications that you are able to connect to the Command platform. So as you scroll down, you'll see over on the left-hand side that you have all of the different icons indicating what the platforms are. And then scrolling back up, moving over towards the middle column, it will tell us whether the platform is connected or not. And then on the right-hand side, you have the ability to manage the connection. So for our class today, we are talking about our opportunities, and that is going to involve documents. So we are going to take a look at DocuSign. We do also have the ability to connect dotloop. So just keep in mind, as most market centers are utilizing DocuSign. However, there are still a few that are using dotloop. So you'll find both of them under your application section, and you'll just want to make sure that those are connected. So once you go ahead and if you have not already connected your DocuSign account, you are just going to have a green button here that's going to say connect. You'll click on that, and then you'll go ahead and put in your login information in order to connect the DocuSign account. One thing to keep in mind is that this does need to be a DocuSign account that has been created in the back end of Command in order for it to connect to the Command platform. So if you are coming from another market center and you had a DocuSign prior to coming to KW and you're running into issues connecting your DocuSign, unfortunately, it is not going to be compatible with the KW system. It will have to be created through the back end of Command. So if you are running into that issue, feel free to send us an email at the email that I put in the chat box, and we can go ahead and make sure that we get you set up with one that is compatible so that your opportunities are going to be connected to that platform. So one other thing, if you have not already verified your DocuSign, when you go ahead and click on the connect button over here, it's going to, if you have not already logged in, you can go ahead and put your email in and click the verify button. It will send you an email verification to your KW email for you to then confirm the connection for it to log in through command. So that is how that works on the back end of just being able to make sure that this is connected. So next we're going to go into our contacts, and we're going to do this just so that we can find a contact that we're going to bring through our opportunities process today. So in order to do that, we'll just go back to the home page just to start from the beginning. But once we are in our home page, we'll go over to the left-hand side, and this time we're going to go to the second applet down, which is our contacts. And once we do that, if you have not already, if you do not have your contact added that you'll be creating the opportunity for, you can go ahead and click the Add Contact button. And then you can start to create that contact. We're going to go into this fake contact or test contact that we have for our class today. So when I click on this contact that we have already created, it's going to bring us into the back end of the contact card. Now, the reason that I'm showing you this is because there's actually two ways that you are able to create opportunities. One is through the contacts and one is through opportunities. So I'm just going to show you both ways of how you can do it. And it's really just based off of your preference of if you are working pretty exclusively in your contact database, then it may be a lot easier for you to just create the opportunity right through the contact profile. So as we're looking at our contact profile, you're going to see that it has all of our information over on the left-hand side for this contact. If there's anything that we need to make updates to, we have our pencil icon in the top right corner. That's going to allow us to edit the contact. And then over on the right-hand side, we have all of our options for what is involved with this particular contact. So we have a timeline, we have opportunities, smart plans, tasks, notes, and saved searches. So these are all connected to this particular contact. Under timeline, it's going to give you an overview of everything that is going on for this contact. So you'll see that there's different icons, different colors, just to kind of categorize and organize. If we go to the next one, we're going to click on opportunities. This is going to tell us all of the opportunities that are connected to this particular contact. Now, if you wanted to create an opportunity, you could click the Create Opportunity button that you see right here. And this is going to create the opportunity under this contact card. So this will be for this particular client. You'll see that it will automatically populate that information in there for you. So going up to the top, we're going to see anytime you see this red asterisk, this means that this is required in order to save or to create the opportunity. If you are part of multiple market centers, the first thing that you will want to check, and you can click on this drop down, is making sure that you are creating the opportunity under the appropriate market center. So just keep that in mind as you go to update that. If you are on a team, you would then have the drop down to be able to select a team if you wanted this to be on the team profile. Opportunity type, you have the option to select whether it's a listing, a buyer, a landlord, or a tenant. So we'll go ahead and we'll click listing. The owner is going to be your name. It's going to have the client's name that is pulling in again from that contact card. You can add a co-seller to it as well. So if you wanted to add a spouse, you could just start typing in and you'll see that the contacts will start to populate for you to click on. We'll have the opportunity name, and typically this is how it works for compliance and for your market center. It's just going to have the contact name, and then it will have the type of opportunity or the opportunity type that it is after that. So it will be contact name dash listing. Next, we have custom tags. So if you wanted to tag this at all, you could do that. So we could go ahead and tag it as a listing. And if there's something that you wanted to add that is not already in there, let's say we wanted to do listing 1 just because we already have listing, you can just type that in and then click create listing, and it will then create that tag for you. And if you're not if you are not familiar with tags, a tag is basically a way of organizing your contacts by creating a tag that's going to differentiate contacts between each other. So next, we have our estimated close date. So this is going to, this may be something that you already know, or maybe you don't, and you can just kind of put an estimated date on there, and that is able to be changed after the fact. We have a time frame if you'd like to put that information in, estimated listing price, the commission rate, which you will notice is required. So that is something that you will put in there. Go ahead and get that in. The opportunity phase. So whether this is either in the cultivate phase, appointment, or active phase. So as a listing, if this is something that you are actively trying to work on, but you have not maybe even, had a conversation with them yet, we can leave that in the cultivate phase. As if we are nurturing that particular client or that particular contact. And then the appointment phase, it would be when, if you actively had an appointment scheduled with them, or active meaning that you have the listing and you have signed that listing agreement. So typically when you are creating the opportunity, it will start in that cultivate phase, but you do have the option to choose there. And then the opportunity stage. So we have phases and we have stages. And this is going to make a little more sense when we get into our opportunities pipeline. So I will break this down a little bit further. But the stage, if we click on that, is going to be watch, nurture, or hot. Just meaning watch is something that we want to just keep an eye on. Nurture is that we are actively trying to nurture them. Maybe they have a little ways out, or hot means that they are ready to list pretty in the immediate future. So once we are all set with that, we'll go ahead and click create. You're going to see that it now has created this listing. So we have it right here. It is in our opportunities pipeline for this particular contact. And then we can go ahead and click on the listing name. When we do that, you'll notice that now we are in our opportunities. So it brought us into our opportunities pipeline. So that is one way that you can create the opportunity. So before we go any further into this, I'm going to go back out and I'm going to click on our opportunities. And now I'm going to show you the opportunities pipeline before we get into the details of what the phases and all of that are. So when we click on our opportunities section, it brings us to our opportunities dashboard. The first thing that I want you to keep in mind, if you are part of a team, you are going to have multiple pipelines up at the top. So you're going to see that you have a few different tabs here. So we have our team pipeline. This generally auto defaults to your team pipeline. The only reason it didn't this time is because I created a personal opportunity and it brought us in from that already created opportunity. But typically, if you go to click on your opportunities and you are on a team, it's automatically going to bring you into your team pipeline. So if you are doing business both personally and through your team, just make sure you're in the right tab before you create and move your opportunities around. So next you'll see that we have our personal, then we have all opportunities, and then you might have a tab all discussions if you're on a team. So in taking a look at our profile, let's just go to our personal one. You're going to see that it is broken down into a few different phases. So we have listings, we have buyers, and we have leases. So these are going to be separated based off of whatever the opportunity type is that you create for that opportunity. Now going over to the top right, we have an import button. So if you are using dotloop, you do have the option to import your loops from dotloop, but just keep in mind that you will have to have your dotloop connected in order for this to pull any information through. So you can choose which pipeline you'd like it to import into. And typically you will not have this many. We just have a lot because this is a test account, but you probably may only have one. And then you'll have it the chance to select what .loop profile it is importing from. So same thing, you're probably not going to have this many options. So you'll go ahead and click on those selections, click continue, and it will import that loop for you. Now, if we wanted to create an opportunity from our opportunities page, we will click on the create opportunity button. And this is going to bring up the exact same opportunity card that it did from the contact page, except the only thing that does not pull through is the client's name. So that is something that you would have to add because we're not creating this directly through a contact card. So just keep that in mind. So once we're looking at our pipelines again, we're just going to take a look at listings since it's the first one. So you're going to see that we have our different phases that we have here. So we have cultivate, appointment, active, under contract, and closed. Typically, all opportunities are going to start in the cultivate stage. So what this means is if you have a lead coming in, let's say that they signed up to get property information on your website and they came into command as a lead, you would want to make sure that you put them in this cultivate stage, which means that you are nurturing them. So under here, it provides little icons and then it has a number. That number is indicating how many contacts or technically opportunities are under that particular stage. So right now we have 4 different opportunities that are under this cultivate phase. Below that, it will tell you the volume of the amount. So we have 3.6 million for these 4 opportunities that are in our cultivate stage. And then below that, it will tell you the average time that you have an opportunity in this stage. So moving over to appointment, this means that you are starting to create appointments and scheduling appointments with these particular opportunities. Active is when you are actively working with these contacts. Under contract is when you go under contract on a property, or if the if the listing goes under contract, because we're in the listing phase. And then we have our closed phase. So over on the right-hand side, we have our GCI column. This is going to break down the potential income. So this is going to be the total commission from all opportunity listings that you currently have in this pipeline. And then the probable income. And this adjusts based off of each stage's probability to close. So what that means is as you start to move your opportunities through these phases or through these stages, rather, this probable income will update. So the closer you get to being closed, the higher this is going to go. Now, the same thing for buyers. So you're going to see that we have cultivate, appointment, active, under contract, and closed. The same thing for our leases, except for aside from under contract, we have pending. Below that, we have some ratios. So it's going to break down your listings, your buyers, and your leases. It's going to tell you the total amount of opportunities, the probable income versus the potential income. Next, we have a graph that's going to give you an idea of your activity month over month. And then if you click on this drop down in the top right corner, you do have the option to change out what the filter is. So you can take a look at all opportunities, or you can break it down just by listing, buyer, landlord, or tenant. All the way at the bottom, we have a section called closing this month. So this is just going to provide a list of all of the upcoming closings that you have scheduled for this month, keeping in mind that this does adjust based on transmittal. So as soon as the market center staff does their transmittal period, which means that they are sending all of the monthly information to KWRI, this is going to update. So if you're not seeing some closings that recently closed and it happens to be like the first week of the new month, that could be the reason why. All right, so going all the way back up, I did mention that there's these icons that are under each of these stages, and you will notice that as I hover over them, they tend to get a little bit bigger, and they are clickable. So if we go ahead and click on that icon, it's going to open up a Canva board that allows you to see what those actual opportunities are under that cultivate phase. So we are going to see, I think, oh, we're just naming all the opportunities the same thing. That's not really that helpful. I think this is mine. So here is our listing. We are going to move it over. Let's say we are not watching them anymore, but now we're nurturing them. So you're going to notice that if you just click on the card, you do have the option to drag and drop it wherever you want it to go. So if we determined that they were a hot lead, we can move it into this category. You do also have the option to change it to a list view as well. So if that's something that you are more interested in, you could go ahead and click on list view and you'll see that it will update it into this type of a view for you. It's really just based off of your personal preference. So let's say that this lead is hot and we actually set an appointment with them. We can then click on this and we're going to now drag it to where it says appointment. And you're going to see that now it's showing up as blue. We're going to unclick our mouse. We will click on appointment and we're going to see that now our listing ended up in our appointment section. So once we are in the appointment section, we have a few different stages. Yes, stages here as well. So we have our scheduled. Once we are heading to the appointment, we can move it over into this section. And then we can move it over when we are at the appointment with the clients. So let's say that now it is an active listing. We again can click on this listing, move it over to our active pipeline. Clicking on our active, we're going to see that now it is under our contract initiated for our listing. Now we can move it over to our showings. We'll move it over to our open house if we decide to have an open house for it, negotiations, etc. So you will see all of these different options. Now let's say that it went under contract. So we can go ahead and move it into the under contract phase. And when we do that, this part is going to be a little different. So at this point, it is under contract, and now we have some compliance things that we need to get done. So within our under contract stage, we can see that we have escrow, inspections, appraisal, financing, and clear to close. So once we are under our escrow, we're going to click into our opportunity, and you're going to see that now there's information that we will need to fill out for compliance reasons for the opportunity. So, the first thing that we want to point out is because this is a listing, we can actually have this information automatically come in. I'm not sure 90% mean in the right corner. I'm not sure. Maybe I missed that part. We'll come back to that and I will get that question answered for you. So, when we are in the details, right above you're going to see select from listings. We can go ahead and click on this and we can go and search for our listing. We don't have any listings, so yeah, I don't think it's going to pull up anything. All right, but you can go ahead and put the property address in, search for the listing, and then you can click confirm and it will start to populate all of that information from the listing in the MLS into your opportunity pipeline. So it will start to enter in some of this information that you have here for the property. Now, when we're looking at the details, you can see there's some key information and we have our pencil icon in the top right corner so that we can update any of this information. We have property information, key dates that you can put in, parties to the transaction, seller worksheet, financial information, ownership. And keep in mind that some of this information will pull through from DocuSign, especially the parties to the transaction. So just keep that in mind as you are filling it out. Now we can move over to our marketing section if we would like, and we're not going to go too much in depth. And we do have more recordings on our YouTube page for about marketing, but this is where you can create any designs, any paid campaigns that you want for this particular listing, and it will just have everything in here for you to keep track of what you have sent out. Now, the next thing we're going to come to is documents. This is one of the more important things and where you're going to spend most of your time within the particular opportunity. So, when we are under our documents, the first thing that we'll need to do is pick a checklist type. And keep in mind that these are created by your market center. So, it may look a little different than mine, and that's okay. We're going to click on this drop down and you're going to see that we have a handful of different options to choose of the checklist type. So, what this means is you're going to pick whichever one is relevant to the opportunity that you currently are working with. So, we are just doing a residential listing. We're not doing new construction. We're not doing an unimproved property. We're not doing a farm and ranch listing, etc. So we're going to click on our residential listing and it is automatically going to populate all of the required or conditional documents that are necessary for a residential listing. So when we are in here, you're going to see that now we have 3 lists that have populated. We have listed. So these are all of the required documents that are going to be needed, or the conditional or optional documents as we are during the listing process of this opportunity. In order to add information, you can start a transaction. And you can click on the drop down and do it from either your DocuSign or your dotloop. And it's going to start to pull in your transaction information from here. Or you can drop your file here if you have it saved onto your computer. So you're going to see the status of whether you have anything uploaded or not, the requirement of whether it is required, if it is conditional, if it is optional. the document information. So it's going to tell you exactly what the document is that you need, and then the type that it is. So if you go and try to drop a file, it's going to open up your file for you to then choose it and upload it into that section. Now, going back over to the left-hand side, once you have, well, actually, before we do that, so once we have added all of our required files, this is going to show up colored. So it's not going to be grayed out anymore. And this is, you will click on this button and it is going to submit it to your market center for their compliance approval. So this is how you are going to send this information to your market center. So once you have sent that to your market center, they will come back with any information that they need, or they'll go ahead and approve your submission. And you will get notified of that in your notification section. And then we can move on to the under contract section. So same thing when you are now under contract. You'll see all of the required documents, and it will be the same sort of thing, of course, with the different documents that are required under the under contract stage of the opportunity. Again, when that is all completed, you'll go ahead and click submit to the MC. And then our next will be closed. And this is just going to be the closing documents that you receive at your closing to then upload and submit to your MC for your compliance approval. If you needed to add a custom folder, you could do that here. So a lot of times, we have agents who may want to add a custom folder just for some extra documents that may not be necessarily required for compliance, but they're just good to have on record, anything like that. So now moving on from our documents section, we'll go ahead and move over to our offers and commissions. So this is where, let's say this is our listing and we received an offer from our listing. We can call it an initial offer or whatever you may want to call it. We'll click on create offer. We'll leave the offer date. We can update the close date. Let's say the close date is going to be March 29th. We can click on the parties and we'll start to put in the buyer's information for whoever is sending us the offer. So buyer test, we have test at buyeremail.com. Just putting their information in. You have the representation information that you'll put in. And then you will see the seller's information on the other side, followed by the representation, which should be your information. You'll go ahead and click on terms. And this is where you can go ahead and put in the terms of the offer. So if they were putting any cash down or if they're financing, so we'll just put a finance amount in there, earnest money of, 1%, termination, seller costs, anything like that that they put into their contract. We'll go to agent analysis, and here is where you can put pros or cons and a summary of the offer if that is something that you want to add into your operations. We'll go ahead and click save, and keep in mind that this becomes very handy if you have multiple offers. So you will want to put this information in for any offers that you receive during a listing, and then you can take a look at this and either accept or reject the offer. So let's go ahead and say we want to accept this offer. We'll go ahead and accept it. And then it's going to have this button to manage the commission. So this is how we are going to do our commission report. You do have the option to change the response if if that happens to come up. Let's click on manage commission. All right, and this is going to bring us into our commission tab. So the first thing you're going to see, there's a general information section. So we are going to click edit general information, and you're going to have to make sure that all of this is accurate. And we have a contract date. So let's say we just went under contract today on the 14th. Our closing date is actually going to stay the same, so we won't change that. We'll click Save Changes. And then you can see that we have payment information under here. If we go ahead and click on Edit Payment, or sorry, Edit Agent Payment, you have the option to edit any of this information here regarding the breakdown of your commissions. So on the agent unit, we can leave that the same. Let's just make sure that our commission is accurate. So we can click on that to refresh it. You'll see your royalty, your company commission, any E&O, Bold Scholarship, KW Cares, anything that you want to add. And then at the bottom, you're going to see it says extra payment options. If we go ahead and click on add item, it's going to have a drop down for you to choose an additional element that you are adding to your commission report. So whether it is a bonus, whether it's a concession, a deduction, an inside referral, which means that it is another KW agent, or an outside referral, which means that you received this referral from an outside agent that is not with KW. So if you were to go ahead and click on that, it would have you put in the amount. And because this is an inside referral, you would actually search for the agent and choose that agent's name to add them to your commission report. So once you're done with that, you'll go ahead and click Save Changes. And then it's going to give you a summary over on the right-hand side of the total commission, and then a breakdown of what you are actually owed. So you do want to make sure that this is correct. You can add any notes that you need your Market Center staff to be able to see. And then keep in mind below here, it's going to tell you anything that is coming up that is going to be an issue for you to be able to send this. So it will tell you exactly what this is. We have an invalid ID because this is a test account, so that's okay. But just keep in mind to look out for anything, and it will tell you if there's something that is incorrect in this section. So once you are all set there, you'll go ahead and click submit. And then it's going to go ahead and send your commission report to your Market Center staff so that they have this on file, that you have a closing coming up on this date, and they need to send this commission report out to title or whoever. All right, so next we have our notes section. This is where you can just add any notes for the opportunity. And the last thing that we have is our timeline. So this is just going to give you a full overview of the opportunity timeline, in case you ever needed to take a look at something for compliance purposes or anything like that, to make sure that you are in line with the timelines. So you can go ahead and check that out there. So that is everything that we have for our opportunities today. Thank you all so much for joining me. This is going to be recorded and it will be put on our YouTube page later today. We do also have prior opportunities classes as well. So if you wanted to go ahead and take a look at something right after our class today, you can go to our YouTube page and type in opportunities in the search bar, and you'll see a ton of our previous classes as well. So thank you all so much, and I hope you have a great rest of your week.